G'day traders, Sam here from Trade to Prosper, and here to give you another Bitcoin update. And in this session, I'll quickly try to cover a few topics within the 30 minutes or 20 minutes that we have. I'll be covering the DEXI, SP500 and Bitcoin, and the likely scenarios, and potentially a big opportunity if it was to develop. So keep this in mind. This is not a prediction. This is about talking about possibilities or scenarios and keeping track of those events. And if they do seem to come in line, then we know how to trade them. So let's start with Bitcoin. On the 4-hour chart, we have pretty much a flat line, and what it looks like is that it's going to be a breakdown to the downside, and then what we're going to expect from that point onwards. As you can see, I got my RSI, and what it looks like is, from this perspective on the 4-hour, some resistance lines. So this is looking like it's going to be resistance, and what we're seeing is resistance, and that is likely to break down this RSI trend line, and what we're probably looking for is support here, which will probably give us another bullish divergence. So if this was to come here along those lines, this will be a bullish hidden, well, a regular bullish divergence, or we can have a hidden bullish divergence as well. So that's what I'm thinking at the moment. So now let's go into the details. Now looking at the 1-hour chart, we can see that, let's just get the pen out, that we had buying interest up to that point, and then we had bearish divergence, and that came down as well. So what we have is confluence with price, and we can see from this point, this pivot point, that it's become the main resistance, and this is the main support. Now if we were to look at this range, you can see that we are establishing a new resistance band, and that resistance band is pretty much this here. And I would say that is the point of control at the moment. And we have two cases where, even three actually. So, and the fact that this is not coming down to touch this bottom shows me that it's bearish. So what's going to happen is, eventually it's going to break down, and this is not going to be really that much of a support. It's just going to slowly grind, and then now the question is this going to be support? And we'll look at the way the candles are done, because if it's slow, then it's likely to drop. If it's quick, like a quick drop, and then we see a quick response, then we know that there's buying here. Now, why would we think there's buying interest there? From a few points. Let's go to the 4-hour, so I can squeeze the chart in. We can see from this perspective, this level previously had buying interest. So this is the next level of resistance, or resistance to the downside. However, I do believe that we still got a fair bit of time not to capitulate anytime soon. So we still, it's about the bulls running out of steam, and so this could still, they could still think that this is a buying opportunity, and also the whales could also do the short squeeze. So those that have been shorting, those that have been going long from here, will have their stop losses below it, and what will happen is they will push the price down. These stops will be triggered, liquidity will be picked up, and price could go up, and then the FOMO will kick in because it's past this level. People will jump in, and those who have been shorting are liquidated, and those who want to go long would keep going, and then we'll probably find a resistance either here or there, and then we'll get a rejection as well. Ideally, I do think that that it's possible to even go up to this level here. Now, why would I think that we could still come up to this level or even higher? Because if you look at this chart, historically, we had a few instances where, if this will catch up a bit, you can see how price comes down where there's interest, and you can see it coming back up to a specific level. And well, this one's a bit longer, a bit different dynamics, but you can see how this middle range is the decider. And so what we're looking at is the best case scenario is that it goes up to this level and we'll get the rejection for sure along this line here. So I'm pretty confident that if it was to come up here, it'll be really pushed down. However, we got the 21 daily moving average as well as the 204-hour moving average, and these are coming in line with this the 618 golden ratio. So this is going to be a strong resistance level, and so now the question is, once it gets rejected, if it gets to that level and gets rejected, would this hold? So this could continue up or continue down. So that's one scenario that I'm looking at. Now, what would give me that idea that that's going to happen? Well, let's look at the SP 500 at the moment. The SP 500 is in a position where we should find support. Now, this is conditional, of course, for Bitcoin. If we were to lose this level, I do believe we're going to go down a lot harder. So the SP 500 has come to a support area, and we might find a bit of a bounce, a bit of a rally, either getting up to that point or further higher to that point and coming back down. I do be bearish. If we were to pass this level, if the price was to come up to this level, then I will become bullish. But now, what would I think in a bearish manner, and what other scenario that could play out to be bearish? So we've got this chart where if it comes up. So now we're looking at the SP 500, and we correlate back to Bitcoin. So if you can look at the fractal, previously in this real bear market, we can see that from this level to that level, we have the 618, and that matches this right here. So the 618, very much similar pattern. And what we saw is that we got the rejection. We came down to this trend line, and what we have is that trend line now as well. So you can see that there was a bit of a bounce to this moving average, and if I could recollect, okay, the 21 on the 3-day. So this is the 3-day as well. So the 21's there as well, and it's actually on the body of the candle. So we will not get past that much. So we're just going to need to see the next 3 days play out to see if it has resemblance there, and if we were to drop that level. So you can see that when we drop that level and we drop this 200 moving average, this becomes a resistance and the trend line along with the moving averages, and price really capitulates. So now we have this moving average coming down potentially, and we've got this moving average. So if price was to either get rejected at this level and we break this level, then we're going to see further downs, and the real test is this 200 moving average. So if we were to close below it on the 3-day, then that's going to be bearish. We're going to try to break above it and then capitulate. So this kind of scenario is going to be very good for us if we can play it right. If we keep an eye on it and see if this takes place. If it does, then we are more in tune with potentially doing a real good trade, either shorting Bitcoin or finding a good entry on the bottom of the market. So let's have a stop here for a sec and let me look at, oh shit, give me a sec. Where is it? Pause here. Now let's look at the Dixie and how we're seeing it. Now this is the monthly chart for the Dixie. We're at a critical level for support or resistance, and you can see that on my Fibonacci strategy, It's another a main fib level, as well as the smaller perspectives, and the 618 is part of that fib extension with this wave. So if we were to count the wave, we would probably have more highs to do. But if we go to the weekly, we're probably seeing that there's basically a rejection taking place. And what we might have is a bit of a relief for the time being, coming back down or coming down further. And this might give Bitcoin a chance to rally up, for the SP 500 to make a move to the upside. But I don't think so. We got a range that it might play. We might have this range first. So price might just go around here, consolidate before it does a breakout, or a big deeper one, a much more bigger range, and then break up. But I do see this not as a reversal, but a pause in price. So long if this was to take place, now let's look at the indicator to help us with that. And let's see, it's early, but let's have a look. I'll use my Phoenix and the RSI. Phoenix doesn't work here, I don't think so. Yep, doesn't work there. So what we have is bearish divergence taking place. So it's possible that this bearish divergence, so we've got price continuing to go up, RSI is dropping, and what we have is pretty okay, regained. So if we lose that again, it's going to be more bearish. This, however, could be a bull flag, right? So we're seeing this as well. So like I said, the Dixie might just come in a range, and we might just see that before it breaks to the upside. And how much more? Well, I do believe 111, 112, it was one of my goals. This one here didn't quite make it. And then we have this 114 as the next target. And then we might get a bit of a stronger rejection there. So that's what I'm looking at. So going back to Bitcoin, looking at indicators, I do feel like that this play is likely to take place where it comes down. And if I look on the daily, let me have a look on the daily for a sec. Today will be good. So, yeah, so from a daily perspective, I can see that Phoenix is looking to do a big move, really. It's in the bearish territory. This is coming down, but not so deep. So yeah, you can see with my Fibonacci. So we saw this in the past when I did speak about it. Pretty obvious level where it broke down. Now this, I think this has more to come down. This is more like a bear flag. So this might just come down like that, come down to these levels like that, and then find the bounce. And so that might equate to these Fibonacci's that I have here. Give me a sec. Let's put the prices in. So 18,800, which is aligned with that, and the Fibonacci. And then potentially 16,900 could be the next level of support. So if we were to break down and get that recovery, and whatever it is, might come back down from there or there, we are starting to play another downward trend or no downward channel, and we might be in this quadrant before it comes down here, and then find out a reversal. I am looking at these two prices, so that is my main interest. However, we can potentially come down here as well. I'm not going to go into the details how I found those, but I do have that belief that that's the case at the moment, that we are headed down. But in the meantime, we don't know how high this can go. I do believe we're going to get the squeeze on the shorts and then the squeeze in the longs coming down. So it's going to be a real tricky area, possibly. And I would not go in long anytime soon. That's me. I'll just look for the trades. I'll leave it at that, guys. Please give me a like and share, and I'll talk to you soon.